This week's episode is brought to you by Human Sound Studios. Listen, guys. Desert Fish will be at the Hut this Friday night, August 30th, with Los Streetlight Curb Players and Sensi Trails. There will be no cover, 21 and up with a valid ID, and the show starts at 10 p.m. So if you want to go and get crazy, that's the place to do it. Also, Desert Fish is collaborating with Crooked Tooth Brewing Company to bring you the It's Getting Late IPA. It's a hazy IPA inspired by the desert. A beer release party at Crooked Tooth Brewing Company on September 5th. It's going to be going on all night. Music from 9:30 to 10:30. And a Lord of the Rings trivia before the party. So let's get to the podcast. Wow.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Untamed podcast. This is episode 13, and I am John, and that is Juan crunching a bag into his microphone.
It's so satisfying.
I mean, I guess.
What's up? That's John, and this is Juan, and this is the Untamed podcast.
Yeah.
Once again, coming at you.
Episode 13. We're on time this week. It's Sunday.
It is Sunday, and it is...
We're not missing a week. Are you just wrapping those around your finger? He's eating the gummy lifesavers right now.
Yeah, this is so good.
Well, I was just talking about this. Juan has always got candy for the podcast taping.
But then...
Always.
I'm going to start my diet again.
Those sprees or whatever, and then you had the duos, the Starbursts.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to get sponsored by some candy companies.
No. Because I'm starting my diet because when I went to my birthday thing, right?
Yeah,
my birthday was like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I gained 20 pounds, John. This is not even an exaggeration.
Over that week?
Well, over from then until now. So, yeah.
The hell have you been eating?
Dude, it's not even just eating. It's like I've been drinking like crazy and eating like crazy.
You just got to work out more.
Shut up, John.
I'm just saying.
Working out.
Just being honest, bro.
I work out. Sometimes. Actually, you know what? Since my birthday, I haven't had karate. So
been on a break?
Yeah, it's like a 4-week break.
So you haven't been losing any poundage, just putting them on?
Mm-hmm. Speaking of, this past weekend, I went to go...
as in last weekend or this weekend?
As in yesterday.
Got you.
I went over to my parents, and we did like a martial arts class in the garage. Just like the good old days.
Yeah.
And that was cool because, you know, like I've been teaching for a while. So I kind of like felt like I was like plateauing a little bit because I wasn't practicing for myself. So
it's like a bunch of stuff that you do that you already know every time. Got you. Yeah.
And also like, I'm used to only teaching up to a certain belt rank.
Got you.
So that in my head is like I don't even have to think about it anymore. But now I'm starting to get students that are surpassing that belt rank. And it's not that I don't know what to do or what to teach. I just feel like I need a
refresher,
freshen up for myself so I can help these guys move forward to the best of their abilities.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know what I mean?
I feel you. What else did you do this week since we last spoke?
Honestly, not a whole lot, dude. I'm starting a softball league,
Mm-hmm.
so I thought that would be a fun little thing to do.
Are you like you're joining one or like?
Well, I'm starting one,
Got
so like I'm
you.
trying to put a team together,
Got you.
so I can like.
Are you like trying to enter it into like an adult softball league that in town or something? Or got you.
Yeah.
You. So you're starting like a team basically then.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah, but
That's cool.
I'm still trying to find people, and
Mm-hmm.
we've been doing like practices.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
really practicing. It's more like just throwing the ball around, hitting the ball.
Yeah.
But I thought it would be fun to kind of
Yeah,
like
sounds
get
like
people
fun.
together and
Yeah.
do something other than get trashed every
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and actually do something like I don't necessarily want to say like it's productive, but it you know like
yeah.
it's like you said something other than just like fucking partying.
Yeah, my hot boy summer is coming to an end, dude. Hot boy summer.
A hot boy summer.
Now it's just a sad boy summer, you know?
And a sad boy fall. Sad boy winter.
Sad boy winter. Hey,
When
it's cuffing season, bro.
When it gets dark outside.
Do you know what cuffing season is?
No, I have no clue what that is.
It's when you
Obviously, Julia does and doesn't like it.
it's when you like go and find yourself like a girlfriend or a boyfriend for the holiday season.
I
Just
just
for the
got
holidays.
divorced, so I'm enjoying that divorcee life.
We're not going to talk about
Gonna
that.
get
Julia.
a cat.
Julia,
Gonna get a
nobody
cat.
brought you into this conversation, Julia.
You did
Just
Oh
kidding.
my God.
by bringing up cuffing season.
Cuffing.
I did not know that is what it was called. I knew
Yeah.
that happened, but I didn't know that was what it was called.
Yeah. Just because you're cuffing that person, like you're locking them down.
Yeah.
You're like, hey,
You want to date for the winter so
wanna-
we can feel okay,
and then by January, I'll
You're
be
like-
over it.
yeah.
Yep.
You got to get out before Valentine's Day, because then it gets too real.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Because Valentine's Day sucks.
I agree. It's one of the biggest Hallmark holidays. Dude, I don't know if this is super negative of me, but like I used to work in retail in like a standard store, whatever. It sold food, but also sold like tons of random goods. And so Valentine's Day stuff would literally start going up the day after New Year's.
Really?
Yeah, literally. Like we would get it shipped to us just after Christmas. And then it would start going up because they always are like 3 months away is this holiday. And so we need to be pushing this holiday. That's 3 months away so we can sell everything before the holiday gets here. And as soon as the holiday happens, boom, next holiday. Like it literally just like moves holiday to holiday to holiday. Like
yeah,
that.
dude, I
It's
see like
crazy.
Halloween shit up already, and it's August.
Yeah,
You know
it
what?
started going up like a month ago.
You know what they should do? Just get rid of Valentine's Day and put in a second Halloween.
I could be down with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or just take the holiday
Or
away
just
altogether.
let's not do it. hey,
Hey,
hey.
let's just not do it.
I don't need a holiday to buy you flowers, dude.
No, yeah.
I do
You
it
should just buy you
for
flowers.
my own shit.
Do it on my
you
own
know?
time. Yeah.
You know what's funny is like so you know girls like flowers.
Oh,
Girls love
I mean,
flowers.
I like
Oh my
flowers,
god, new flowers. Woo. Okay. Here's the thing. If I'm gonna date somebody,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and you tell me to buy you flowers,
I'm not gonna want to buy you flowers.
I'm not gonna buy you flowers, bro.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
It should be that thing where it's like, oh, I bought you flowers. It's like, it should be like a surprise, but also
Yeah.
just like a cool, like, hey, like I was having a shitty day and you brought me flowers. Now my day's better.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be just like expecting that.
Yeah.
You know?
Like stop. Like don't hint to me that you want flowers, and then I'll be like,
Right.
Well,
I feel
then
like
I got
some
you
people
flowers.
like need those hints because they're just so
Oh
oblivious.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I
they
agree
just
with
wouldn't-
that. Like
I
my
never thought to buy you flowers.
like my dad.
Giving people flowers is kind of morbid, though. I mean, think
A
about
little
it.
bit. It's,
They
like,
grow
beautiful,
these beautiful flowers
and
and,
then
then
you
they
murder
just
them.
fucking die.
They're dead within a week.
Yeah.
That's why you buy people plants they can plant in the ground so that it continues to grow.
Yeah. Like some tomato plants.
There you go. Something that they'll give back.
Exactly.
I bought you a cow.
Oh, man.
I'd take a cow over flowers any day.
Here's a
you go.
chicken.
Here's a chicken. You
Okay.
can get eggs.
Okay, so I'm at work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to say this without saying where I work,
Yeah.
but we get boxes
Mm-hmm.
of chickens.
Like literal chickens?
Mm-hmm. Like
What?
baby chicks.
What?
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing?
Yeah.
That's weird. I didn't
It's
know
a
that.
thing.
I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Anyways, the other day, a little baby chick escaped
Oh, shit.
and was running around the fucking building. And then it was in this room.
Because you do maintenance where they like, Juan, get on it.
Well, they were trying
catch that chicken.
They were trying to call maintenance, and we were like,
We're on the roof fixing something.
we're maintenance. We're not fucking herders. You know what I mean? Like, we're not farmers, bro.
That's so funny.
Chicken
But I went
tastes
over
good.
to go look at the little baby chicks. It was so cute.
Mm.
And within like the 30 minutes that I was in that room
Mm-hmm.
with the lady that works in that room,
Mm-hmm.
it was like attached to the lady.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like following her.
Mm-hmm.
And like she would go like this
Well,
with
'cause
her
they're
hands and it
searching
would
for, like, a
jump.
mom,
yeah, and it
you know?
would jump into her arms
Yeah.
and she would hold it like this and it would start to fall asleep.
I feel like it's
It
that
was
that,
so cute.
that like instinct that's in them to find a mom and like need to be nurtured, you know?
Mhm.
So
I
guess it
remember
makes
playing
sense.
with a baby chicken and my dad telling me, "Didn't your mom ever teach you not to play with your food?"
Jesus.
Like in the cartoons when the fucking dinosaurs hatch from the egg and they
Yeah,
just
yeah.
look and they go, Mama!
Yeah.
No.
No. That's funny.
Or have you seen that show, The Dinosaurs?
What show?
It's like an old
Land
show.
Before Time?
No, it's just called The
Oh,
Dinosaurs.
no. I remember watching
It's
Land
like a
Before
little-
Time
little-
and I watched the movie Dinosaur.
Okay, so
From
like
Disney.
there's an old, it's like from the 80s or something called The Dinosaurs.
Uh-huh.
And there's like this little baby dinosaur.
Mm-hmm.
He's yellow.
Mm-hmm.
And then a big green daddy dinosaur.
Mm.
And he's like feeding the kid. And he's like, now say dada. And he goes, not the mama. He goes, not the mama.
That's funny.
And he's like, oh, you little shit. He doesn't say little shit, but
No, yeah,
he
yeah.
literally does. It's old. It's back in the day, so he literally
have to
says,
look
"I'm
that
gonna
up.
throw you across the room." That's what he says to his
Dude,
baby.
that reminds me of Bill Burr's show. Have you ever watched it? Officer Family?
Oh my god, I
Mm-mm.
love that.
So he
show
it's
so
a cartoon and Bill Burr plays the dad and
much. I will
he
throw you through that.
put you through that
wall.
fucking wall. So he plays, it's supposed to be like in the 70s or something, and he's just like this angry dad, right?
Mhm.
And the kids, anytime they misbehave, he has like a temper and he's just like, I'll put you through the fucking wall. It's so
I don't
funny.
even care.
Yeah. It's like, do you know how many walls I'm going to need to fucking put you through?
I love that show so much.
I've
They
never
need to make
watched
more.
it.
It's hilarious.
Actually.
They're making a new season.
Oh, thank
It's
God.
hilarious. It's a cool like it is in the same fashion as a lot of the like adult cartoons like Rick and Morty or like
Yeah.
started that trend is kind of started by like South Park and Family Guy and
Mhm.
American Dad, but it's kind of in line with that, but it's definitely different, which I think is cool.
But it's a live action.
No, it's a cartoon.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's a cartoon, but it's really
Oh.
cool. He just plays the
Oh.
voice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's not like playing himself.
No, he's not playing himself, but he definitely like in his interviews he's talked about how a lot of it's like inspired by his childhood and like maybe like the childhoods of yesteryear. It's supposed to be in the 70s, when like
Mm.
women were like housewives and the men just like went and worked and came home, and he was like, my dad was always pissed off when he came home.
Mm.
And that just kind of like family dynamics. And so he's trying, and then he takes things pretty far with stuff, in his jokes.
Yeah.
And some people like think he goes too far with it, but it's like it's satire and it's comedy. It's supposed to take it too far. I think it's funny.
I think
It's
it's
cool.
great.
Oh, the good old days when things were so simple.
Exactly. It's like a mockery of that. Like it was so much better then. It's like, it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
It was bad in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yup.
Yup.
Uh-huh.
But-
Okay, John. So why don't you go ahead and tell me what you've been up to?
It's been a busy ass week, man. We had the podcast last Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Monday, Tuesday, we spent all day with DF we did full band practice,
Mm-hmm.
and then we didn't get much time in the studio because we had to just push tickets out. Just
How did that go? Like selling the tickets?
We ended up getting to just the bare minimum. Basically, it's a hard ticket to sell, a $15 ticket on a Wednesday in Phoenix. But we pushed and pushed, so it's just kind of how it goes.
Push that sucker out.
Sometimes you get more tickets sold than other tickets. It's a lot of me messaging everyone I know and being that annoying dude, being like, "Hey, I told you I have a show this weekend or this week. Like, did you still want a ticket? Did you want to come? Hey, if you're not doing anything, if you're not busy already, like, I've got a show. Pushing the ad, that kind of stuff. Just trying to push tickets out.
Yeah.
But it ended up going well, and then we drove up on Wednesday. Got to the Marquee, loaded in. It was Marquee's an awesome venue. It's about double the size of the Rialto. Which was crazy playing in a room that size. But it's fun. It's like why I do it,
Yeah.
because it's really cool to be up on stage and shit. But the show went well. We played a new song. So those people who did decide they were going got to hear one of our newer songs. It's on the EP.
Sick.
We just rolled it out. This is the first time we've played it live. Probably won't play it again for a couple shows. Who knows? We'll see. So those shows that we have coming up.
Yeah.
I don't know which shows we'll be playing it at. That is up to
You should play it on Friday.
Maybe.
You should play it if I show up.
Maybe. We'll see.
If I show up, you'll be like, all right, it's on.
It's on.
Because I want to come.
I think we might be playing it at the beer release, but I don't know yet. We got to still come up with our sets.
I want to come to that too.
You should come to that.
That's on
one's
Thursday.
on Thursday, yes. It's our collaboration with Crooked Tooth. But we're going to be there for trivia and everything, and then we're going to be like hanging out and stuff. The beer is officially going to be released. It's going to be on tap there. So it should be cool. But yeah, this week just with the show and everything, then I came back Wednesday night after the show. So like after the show, like I stayed for the whole show, watched Catch a Fire play. They're killer live. I saw my AZ Roots too. But they're really, really good live. And they're from
local?
No, they're from New Zealand.
Okay.
They're like the opposite of local.
Nice.
But it's crazy. Like when you talk to them, you forget that they're from New Zealand until they start talking, and then you hear the Australian accent, and you're like, oh, that's right, you're from the literal other side of the world.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know, it's pretty cool because they're all really chill dudes, and they put on a hell of a show.
That's awesome.
But after the show, I went and got some food, drove back to Tucson, got back at like 2 or 3 in the morning, some shit like that, passed out. Thursday, I had editing to do, and then Friday, I had I'm working with an older client that I've been working with for a long time, actually.
How long?
Since I started engineering.
How long is that?
I started engineering like 2014, 2015. So like 4 or 5 years, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, we actually, he's actually our guest today on our podcast. He's been sitting here patiently.
We have a guest?
We do.
Oh,
so
is that me?
Yeah, that would be you.
Hey.
So we've been working together for a minute now. We met, like I said, about 4 or 5 years ago when I still had my setup just in my bedroom and shit.
Wow.
But he actually doesn't live in Tucson. So every time he comes in, he comes down and stays with me for the whole weekend.
Oh, nice.
So he got here on Friday.
So it's,
and then he's just been staying here.
like you said,
here.
it's a slumber party.
It's a slumber, yeah.
Yeah, I stay here a couple nights. It's always dope to be here at the house of John,
House of John.
as well as home to Desert Fish. It's always a good vibe. We're always making music. It's really nice, great experience. And the best part of it, I get to be in pajamas most of the time. So,
Pajama jammy jam.
Yeah.
A pajama jam.
For those of you that don't know me, my name is Victor, but here I go by The Philosopher. It's a rap title that I'm rapping with, and currently I'm working with John to produce my debut album and following singles right now. So I think that's where I'm at right now for this weekend. We just finalized the album that I've been working on for like years.
Yeah, it's been like 2, because we did an EP together at the beginning. It was kind of just like our first like dabble into working with each other. And then it was like, yo, we want to, he's like, I want to do a full length. And the first EP was like just like a couple beats that like we bought and stuff. And, just put vocals over the top and whatnot.
Like samples?
So they're like pre-made beats. Like if
Yeah,
you go to
like
YouTube, you
this
can
guy-
find beats and
Yeah.
stuff, and then you can just like buy them or lease them from the guy or whatever.
Mm.
So we just
Yeah.
did a couple of those on that EP to start just like the ball rolling.
Yeah, yeah.
And then with this one, we were like, let's
Definitely.
write all the beats.
I think with that project, what was very important beside the production, it was just the comfortability and the relationship and chemistry build up between me and John. Because I'm a beginning artist at that point, so me being behind the booth and in the microphone was completely new to me. So I think we definitely developed this chemistry and strategy to attack the type of music that I want to make. And now that time passes and I finished my first full length album, that I produced all the beats with the help of John, of course. I think that's a very big showcase of what I'm capable of doing. And honestly, that wouldn't have been possible if I didn't have John's help. So thanks again.
How did you guys meet?
Funny story. You
So-
might have heard of a little store called Radio Shack.
Yeah.
So I used to
That
work
exists?
It done it not anymore. They gone bankrupt now, bro.
Yeah,
You got
that
bought
shit-
by Sprint.
there. That's done. It's RIP.
It's donezo, dude.
Yeah, that's just in the grave right now. So I used to work there when I first moved out here in Tucson about like 4 years ago. That was my first job out there. And around the time,
Out here?
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
out here in Tucson. Yeah, sorry.
You said out there? Where? Where's
Over there.
Tucson?
Look, over there.
Where I'm pointing. So during that point where John was trying to apply and get that job, my current manager was leaving. So it was one of those things where I was able to stick through the company and become manager. And through the hiring process, we got John aboard. And that's how I really connected with John, because it was just basically business at first. And then we were like, oh, you do music, I do music. Oh, you produce?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I sound engineer, like let's work. So it was just like a bada bing, bada boom kind of thing. Like it just
Yeah.
fell into place.
And I was getting involved. Like that was when I was first really starting to, do production and stuff. So it was like I was trying to find people that I could record, who are willing to like work with me from kind of the ground up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
without having to worry about charging or you know what I mean? Like
Well,
just
kinda like-
collaborating.
it was more of this like my setup is super simple in my bedroom, and I'm trying to start this sort of thing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
That was the lab though.
Yeah.
That's where it happened first. And
Yeah.
it was a good little space startup setup.
and
But,
like I was unhappy with the current job that I was in, and I was like, I need to cut my hours here. So I literally talked to someone else who I knew that worked at Radio Shack, and then I was like, yo, I just want to like cut my hours back over here. I worked there, from 5 a.m. until 9, and then I would leave there, go home because I lived right around the corner. I'd go home for an hour, change, and then go back and open the store with Vic every morning. So
Wow.
I'd literally go from 5 to 9 at one job and then leave there and then go from 10 to like 3 or 4, whatever it was at the other job.
Wow.
And then I go home and do production. But like, I kind of just walked in and I was like, yo, do you need someone else to do shit? Like I do, I work as I wasn't like technically a manager there, but I ran like a team at my other job. So I was like, this job would be cake compared to that other shit.
Yeah.
So, and then that other manager basically just like offered me a job right there. And so then when I started doing that, like he said, we started just working together, and then it became that like, oh, we should do music together too.
Yeah.
And then over the past, like I said, 2 years after that first EP, we've been working on this full-length album, just going back and forth. He'll bring me the beats that he started to work on. We'll load them into my computer. I'll add things. We'll try to change the structure around whatever it is until we're happy with a solidified beat or whatever. And then finally it was like, he was here, like what? You were here like 3-4 months ago?
Yeah, it was
And we did
about
vocals.
June.
And we did literally the entire album of vocals in one weekend.
Wow.
It was a fun weekend.
And it was my friend likes to call it our marathon weekends. And we just all night, all day, just working. It was cool though, like because we got a lot of solid takes, and then like
yeah.
it's, I don't know, it was just a cool experience to just be like enveloped in it for an entire weekend and be like, not the outside world doesn't matter,
Yeah.
And you just get into the cave and just start working and working. You forget what time it is, and then you're like, shit, it's fucking 7 a.m. Like that one, we were done. We took a picture and I posted, and we all just looked dead tired in it.
Yeah,
We've been-
that's
we've been
still
up-
online, and I look dead. Like my eyes,
yeah.
his eyes, they're just
We're all just
blue,
like-
Yeah.
we're dead, man. But it
But-
was totally worth it because it was long nights, and at the end of the day, we got some pretty steady content. You know?
Yeah, and then basically over the last couple months, I was editing it and getting it all ready to release. And then this weekend on Friday when he came, we listened to it. We had some changes to make. Just some like
minor editing, like kind of just
a little bit of
polishing,
editing, a little
you know?
bit of like kind of artistic vision. You know what I mean? Like I produced it in a way that I thought it should be. And then when he came, he's like, I like this direction, but we should change like this. And sort of those little minor details you take to kind of polish it at the end.
Yeah.
And I think it has a lot to do with musical perception and how we see what music should be. And what is great about collaboration like mine and John's is that we both have different backgrounds in music. So when we come together, we're like just open to new ideas, and we fall into something that is completely new to both of us and possibly to the world, and that's kind of what we aim for as artists. You want to make something new,
Okay.
But yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. So
Sounds like you guys got a good little team going on. though.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then like, I mean, even the dudes in DF, there's one of the songs on the album that features all of DF.
The
on
entire band, just like the entire band did
So
something
Nick,
for
Nick
me.
does a verse on it. Obviously, I did production and I wrote all the drums and stuff in it. And then and I played drums on a different song on the record too, like actual drum kit. And then on that one song that has DF on it, Dylan and Austin wrote the bass part and played the bass on like a string bass.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to like have that like.
Yeah, check
to
it
be
out when it
living in
comes
a-
out.
be living in a house with a band and being like, yo, you want to like help me like write this part or whatever, and like they're always down to help create things or like
Yeah, like at hand's
it's-
reach,
it's
they're right
constantly
there.
just like
Super dope.
Take
super
advantage of what you got.
and it's a house just full of creative people. So
Yeah.
like being able to just sit here for a whole weekend and create is really something cool.
Right.
Dope. Yeah, because that song came in here with like just the melody and the lead. I didn't even have drums or bass on it, and we both thought it was going to go into a great direction because of the lyrics I kind of had on it. And when we added everyone else's,
Vision to
take
it.
and
yeah.
vision, it kind of it blossomed.
Yeah.
That's the word, blossom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Connection going on here.
See, that's what teams are, man.
Yeah.
Dynamic duo.
Yeah.
And as soon as we finished that album this weekend, we immediately started working on 2 new singles.
Yeah, just
Wow.
keep working.
Yeah. So that way, I mean, this album isn't even out yet. It'll probably come out in a couple months. But then by the time that album's out, these singles will be done too and ready to go. So that way there's just a backlog of content ready
Yeah,
to go.
yeah. The vision is to drop it before the end of the year, preferably in the fall because it feels more of a fall tape. When you like enter something new, and or like a new journey, like a new semester, new school, whatever. Like it's just a new beginning. The title's The Power of One. It's one of those things where like any little thing can have a big momentum or anything can make a difference type of thing.
Yeah.
So just like a singularity, but made in a macro and micro perspective, So I don't know. I think it'd be a great fit for fall, but we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see when it comes out. But look for it. I've been posting it randomly on my stories and
So-
stuff. So
I know, but we haven't even actually said what is the genre of your
snap.
music.
Oh snap. Okay, so
Nobody knows.
well, I feel like talking about it being like beats and stuff. Like it's a hip hop sort of rap, sort of.
yeah.
I don't know. There's definitely some instrumentation.
Mainly, I think that's what it is. I'm going for rap, hip hop, but like I said, everyone has their own different backgrounds. So I wanted to bring in kind of like almost like an EDM feel to it, like because I mean. I love EDM. I've been to raves, like, shit, whatever. Like, I fucking love it. And I love the feeling that it gives people. So I wanted to kind of include that in my picture as well. But at some points, it kind of has like a rock vibe to it, Like, it just has like this mesh of what really brought me up as an artist and created a concrete vision of what I am.
Yeah. It's kind of like kind of like how Desert Fish is an amalgamation of different genres and stuff. I think that this kind of does well to kind of build this conglomerate of different styles together.
Definitely.
And like there's a different song that has my other homie KG on it.
KG. Shout out to KG.
Kyle Gallardo. He did
Yeah.
guitar for one of it and does like a cool solo in it and stuff and does all these cool crazy plucks that are going around. And he also did the bass on that track too. That's the one I played drums on. And that's a pretty rocky kind of feeling.
Yeah,
on
that
it.
one you
Yeah.
see a lot of The
But
Rock in it.
It's
Not
pretty
not
cool.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson, but like rock music. You see
Yeah,
it in
yeah.
there.
Oh, you had the Rock feature, dude?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
I thought The Rock was here, bro. But yeah, so I'm still in the come up for that. It's gonna definitely be a great journey to begin.
yeah. What's interesting is that kind of leads us into our topic a little bit too today. Is that like when you go to like publish your record or like when you go to push it and sort of promote it, you use things like social media as a really big tool for it because it's basically free advertising. I mean, obviously you can pay for ads and that kind of stuff, but at the core of it, before you start paying for stuff, it's just free advertising to let people know what you're doing.
Well,
And
before we get into
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
I don't want you to like, dude. We're only at 30 minutes.
Are we really?
Yeah.
Oh dang, we are only at 30 minutes. We can keep going then.
So, chill,
So
chill.
dude.
Take a chill
Fine.
pill,
I'll chill.
Mr. Philosopher,
Present.
Philosopher. How old are you, man?
Currently,
Currently, yes.
I stand at 23 years old.
23.
I'm
What
turning
about when you
24.
sit?
What? Half. I'm half that.
Half that.
But yeah, man.
That's funny.
I think in the music industry, a lot of people look at artists and they're like, "Oh, this guy's young, so we're definitely gonna love him more," type of thing. Because it's harder to do something like music for young people. You know, but I think music is ageless and timeless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, the cutoff age to start a project in music is 28 because I know damn well Jay-Z dropped his debut album when he was late 20s. So I think that's a great cutoff age.
I don't
Well,
even know if there is a cutoff age, to be
I mean,
honest.
that was after he was a crack dealer. So,
Before,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
well known.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that music is one of those things that like it gets spoken about as like a language a lot, like, and you learn to speak that language, and it's something that will stay with you forever. Like, regardless if you go pro or whatnot, like, it's one of those things that you can always sit down at the piano, you can always sing, you can always, pick up your guitar, whatever it is, you're still gonna, and even if you're not playing anymore, being a musician at heart, you're still gonna like listen to music in a certain way, and you're still gonna, it's a universal language that everyone can kind of speak a little bit, and then the pros are the ones who like have just spoken it more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's a really great video actually by Victor Wooten. He's a bass player. He plays with Bella Fleck and the Flecktones. And he's an awesome bassist. He's killer. But then in his video, he talks about music as a language and like how in English, like there's a lot of rules and stuff that we kind of try to attribute to music and stuff. But like when you learn how to speak English as a baby, like no one tells you not to like say certain things. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you're just like you're trying to learn how to talk and like you can't, but other people talk to you and they've been talking.
And you just
they're pros,
pick up on.
and you start to pick it up. Yeah. So like as a
you go,
language, then
"Ah."
he uses the analogy like you get to jam with professionals when you're a baby trying to learn how to talk.
Yeah.
It's like that's just you jamming, and he's like, and if we allowed more young people to jam with professionals, they would learn how to speak the musical language a lot easier.
Very true. Very true.
And they go, fuck.
Dude, I don't know why babies cursing is hilarious, but it is.
Shit. So what inspires you? What inspires you to write music in your lyrics or your not even necessarily just your lyrics, but your music in general? Like what inspires all of that? But mostly lyrics, because I feel like that's where it comes mostly from the heart. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
A little bit.
I mean,
I kinda
I would
are
say a
that,
little
but-
bit because for me, it's always beats first. Like I make my own beats or as much as I can, and I start with that. So whatever the beat or whatever I'm feeling creates the beat, and then the beat kind of creates what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then that's when I start writing words. So to go back to your question, what inspires me, I would say just fuck, man, like
It's probably a lot of stuff, honestly.
yeah,
like,
it is because it can be like everyday things, like how I'm feeling that day, or the just.
it's a lot.
Are you saying like musically wise, like who am I inspired by, or like what?
no. Like what
In
inspires you in life to like write what made you want to start writing, or give me like a scenario on like the first time you wrote your first song. Like, what were you feeling?
Okay,
What were
the
you
first time, that's
thinking?
vivid. That's a very vivid memory.
Okay, go for it, dude.
So I was in 7th grade English, what is it? Language arts class back in the day, middle school.
Yeah.
That's what they call it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I was sitting next to my homie, E. Cruz, and we were in Mrs. G's class, and literally we did not ever pay attention to what she was saying
Mhm.
because we were like, let's just start writing raps, like, because I think the first subject was like poetry,
Yeah.
and like we were just like, man, like this is not today, like what the heck. So we just started writing raps, and every day we would just go back and forth and see who had the most silliest or like the best or like the most catchy, like
Mhm.
just and intriguing. So that kind of grew into later on in life to like actually want to say how I'm feeling,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
at some point I really did go through like a very low and I didn't know how to express it. So I think music gave me a great outlet and opportunity to say something,
Yeah.
and definitely not bottle things inside. So, I mean, I've always been musically inclined. I took piano lessons, guitar lessons when I was like in 3rd grade. Like I started like young, and it just kind of carried out throughout my life. And when I was in college, my first year, my freshman year, literally I was like, what the hell am I doing here? Like, am I really going to sign up for a job that's going to not satisfy me the way that I should be satisfied?
Yeah.
No pun intended, like sexually.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my second semester, my freshman year, every day I would write 16 bars just to see where I was at and like what I could do every day. 16 bars, 16 bars, 16 bars. And by the end of that semester, I was like, holy shit, like I actually got better. I think I can be good at this. I think I want to be a rapper.
Mhm. Yeah.
And luckily, I had a friend that was planning to move to Tucson, which where we're at right now. And he's a DJ. So there's like that music connection that we both had.
Mhm.
And I just ended up joining. And when I was out here, I just dove into production and learning how to produce beats.
Mhm.
It all came together. I met John, started laying down my own music, and I think it kind of solidified something that I wanted to be for a very long time without knowing.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And have you done any shows?
No, so I've never been in front of a crowd. I
Mhm.
know that's like funny as fuck to say, but the way I came at it was I could be basically a child of the internet. Like there's so
Yeah.
many people that just kind of like start out on the internet and they're in front of everybody's faces without even having to show up to a venue.
Yeah.
And of course, hopefully like one day in the future, like I want to be in front of people and like people would want to come and see me, I hope,
Mhm.
because that's definitely like a feeling I want to go after.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm still in the lab,
Yeah. I think one of the
alchemizing everything.
one of the hardest parts to get into playing shows, and I mean, Desert Fish I joined after they had already been a band for several years, so they had already gone
Yeah.
through that process. But I went through the process with my first band, and it's a lot of like, we want to play shows, but if you don't have any material, then you can't play a show.
Yeah.
Like you've got to get writing and get everything down. So like it's a long time before you play your first show when you decide you want to start doing music, because you got to be like, I got to write a bunch of stuff that's terrible and keep writing more terrible crap until it's like, oh, like this actually was pretty good. I'm happy with this.
Right.
Like you put out, you write so much and then you probably put out like 20% of what you write, if even that much. Like,
Mhm.
It's once you have that material to put out there and then you develop your live show basically in private, and then you're able to like drop music and then start like, trying to hit promoters up, trying to hit bands up, trying to hit whoever up to be like, can you let me open for you? Let me open for you. Let me open for you. And eventually one of them just like, sure, fuck it. We'll see what you're about.
Yeah.
And then you're able to go perform. And if your live show is good because you practiced it by yourself, then people are going to, recognize that. And then they're going to go find that album or whatever it is that you've already worked and crafted, and it's already out there. So then they can go see it and follow it and be like, damn, like, oh, I should have like, I should definitely keep following this artist or something. And then that kind of just snowball effects where you
Mhm.
continuously are like getting that in and getting bigger and bigger shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And you play a lot of crappy shows at the beginning to nobody because nobody knows who you are yet. It's like you play to empty rooms
And
and like you go through that kind of struggle until eventually like that's what makes shows like when we play the Marquee or like when you play the Rialto when it's sold out or something, and you're like, you're in front of, over 1,000 people, 2,000 people, and you're like, damn, like this shit's awesome. And I remember playing at that hole in the wall venue to 4 people or to the other bands only and no one else. Like,
Yeah.
and you go through all that shit, and then finally you're like, it starts to really, flow and connect.
Right.
But it's definitely hard to get those first shows out there. But you gotta, without content, there's no reason to be at a show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Unless you got a one-hit wonder and just a banger, and they
You
just
can go
want to
out
hear
there
that
and-
one song.
right. You can go
Just
get
one
a
song and
5-minute set.
get the fuck off.
Yeah.
All right, I'm out.
I mean, I think the smallest set I ever played was like 20 minutes or 15 minutes, and it's like that. I think that's the smallest to get. So you have to have at least that much to get in front of people.
And that's a good 5 songs.
At least, yeah.
Because you got to
It's like
take
an
in
EP.
consideration the little time you take in between songs, trying to drag
I
those
think your
out.
average song is 3 minutes to 4 minutes.
I also think it's hard as an artist because when I lived in California, I had a lot of friends in the musical industry, and I would
In the
Help
music
them-
industry.
same thing industry.
Industry.
But I would help out all the time, like loading gear up, driving them around, and like selling shirts at the merch table or whatever. But I think it can also be hard getting into that snowball effect because like you'll play some shitty shows, but then you'll have that one really good show, and then you're like kind of on a roll, but then you'll play another one and there's like 10 people, and it's like I've watched a lot of people, it's very easy to get discouraged
It is,
for
yeah.
artists when you're doing good and then you all of a sudden only have like 10 people in the crowd, and they're just like, oh fuck man. And I'm just like, you know what, like I was always kind of the band mom, like hype up, like
Yeah.
fuck that, like you're gonna get another great show, like it just
Yeah.
It's definitely
Do
a
it
little
for
bit of
the
a
fun of
roller
it.
coaster until you have like enough fans where you play a show and you know every time it's going to be full. It's definitely a roller coaster where you go up and down, and you got to like, especially when you're playing really short sets, because like I put all this work into writing. I put all this work to practice, packed my gear up, drove down here, got on stage for 15 minutes, and then had to get off the stage and play. I played to nobody on stage, got off, and it's like, you definitely get that discouraged feeling where you're like, is this even worth it anymore? You know? And it's like, you gotta like, you gotta keep pushing for that. And like they always say, half the job is showing up, which is, I really believe, because it's like a lot of the bands that I saw growing up that were local or whatnot, like a lot of them don't exist anymore because they either broke up or shit got too hard, or, they just decided they were going in different directions. But if you keep at it and you keep showing up, you keep doing it, eventually you're going to be the only one left for people to go see, right? So like just by a matter of that on its own, you're going to start to rise because you're the only one there.
Yeah.
I also think it's important for artists to get like a good support system, not necessarily other artists, but like I literally remember being up in LA with a bunch of like my friends that were in a band. I'm not going to say the name on here because I don't know what they're doing anymore. They are kind of like on the down low right now. But I remember us literally standing on the side of the freeway trying to sell the amount of tickets. We had like 10 more tickets to fucking sell, or else they'd have to pay for the
you gotta
set.
pay them out.
I gotta pay them out. So I remember literally standing on the side of the freeway like with these guys,
like,
just
wanna
being
buy a
like,
ticket?
hey, like it's in 1 hour right up the street.
Right.
Like y'all down to come.
Fuck what you're doing.
Exactly.
Go to this
Like,
show.
come to this show, like please. And it's I think like we made fun of it because like it wasn't just me either. Like there was a bunch of other people just helping out, and that could have been a situation where they could have gotten really discouraged, but because of me and like all their other friends, we kind of were just like,
people in your corner are very important.
Oh, for real.
Sometimes as an artist, you can be very sensitive to your emotions. I'm speaking about myself, if anything, because I don't know about other artists, but my feelings can kind of take me away, and it really takes somebody else to kind of like get my
Bring
head
you
back
back.
right. Yeah, definitely. So support is very important.
Yeah, supporting local music is super important.
Definitely.
Like Tucson's definitely got the scene is getting better and stuff. Like it's, the amount of, I see a lot of, similar faces and familiar faces at a lot of our shows, which, is definitely difficult for one person to be like, I'm going to every single show this band plays, and that's like, as a band, we recognize that and we see that. And it's like that amount of support, like really like for us, it's like, well, now it's not only about us. You know, we're doing it for them too. Like, yeah, you do the art that you want to make and you hope that other people like it and you're not doing it for them. But at the same time, you get to a point where you're like, now that person is, you know, they've put so much into this, into watching us grow. And that person is, you know, they feel something from our music. So now you're like, music always for me has been, you know, a good place for me to like deal with my emotions, or like, you know, it supports, you know, my head, whatever it is. So it's like you start to become that for other people.
Yeah.
You know, and then that is like, now it's not only for me anymore. Now I'm there to make sure that because that show that they came to, you know, there's a reason that they're coming to all your shows. They support what you're doing, but also like they really like could like what you're doing, and it could help them. It could be the best day of their week where they're like, I'm going to see this band this Friday. Week at work was shitty, but this Friday is going to be fun because I'm going to go and I'm going to hang out. I'm going to see live music and I'm going to, you know, party, whatever it is. And it's going to be the best night of their week.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about music. Like, you guys created this relationship and this chemistry between yourselves working as artists, but it also helps on like the other side of the spectrum for the people who
For the listener.
listen
Yeah,
to
definitely.
music.
It's also a very similar for like me and my photography too.
Yeah.
Because like when I first started, dude, I was only taking pictures for myself, what I liked, I mean I still do, but I wasn't posting for people. I was posting for myself just so I can get my art out there.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, I've been doing it for 2 years, and now I have people, like, I remember the other day I texted you and I was like, hey, I was at QT and somebody recognized me, and they were like a fan of mine from my photography, and I was like,
Lit.
what the
What
fuck?
the- yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
dude.
Sounds
It's
amazing.
a crazy
So,
feeling.
like, they're
It's awesome though.
like, this girl just comes up to me and is like, hey, and I'm like,
Hey.
hi.
Hi, like who, like, yeah.
Who are you? Like, I recognize, because she had messaged me before, but it was like nothing, like we didn't have a conversation or anything. And people recognize my face because my photography page is still my personal page.
Yeah.
So my posts are all photography, and then my stories and stuff is like me just bullshitting or whatever.
Yeah.
So like people do recognize my face from like watching my stories and stuff. So this girl would come up to me and she told me like, oh yeah, you know, I'm really enjoying your work and I can't wait for you to post more, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I think
That's awesome.
at the Marquee show, this girl came up and she had bought a shirt and then she wanted all of us to sign it. And that's always the weirdest thing when you're like it's really, really cool. And I appreciate the shit out of it, but it's still like odd. I don't know if it'll ever go away, but when people like want you to sign stuff for them, and you're like, why do you want my signature?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just a normal dude. But then it like you turn around and you have your people that you see and look up to, and you're like, oh, I've got this poster with their signature on it.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't know, it's a weird thing to get like that recognition.
Well,
and,
it
like,
was
to have people like
it was another thing for me too. Just the other day, so after I did that shoot with Julia, that was like a month ago, and then I did like the wedding, and I did all these other shoots that I didn't worry about posting anything. I was just editing because I was so behind.
Yeah.
And I had somebody come up to me and was like, or I ran into somebody and they're like, oh hey, like I noticed you haven't been posting on Instagram lately. And I'm like, you fucking realized my absence? Like, you noticed my absence?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
People pay attention.
Like, it's weird, but it's cool. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
And I don't have like a
exactly what you
huge
mean.
following, but that's like, I had this conversation with Julia like a couple weeks ago that I was like, I never cared about having a big following. I just wanted to have, like
Meaning to the
loyal
followers you
Yeah,
followers, like people who are actually going to enjoy what you do and what you post, rather than having that number that's like fucking
Huge or something,
10,000 followers. Like And also the fact, like, I wanted to organically build my
Right,
page.
right.
So I didn't use a ton of hashtags. I didn't use a ton of this, and that. Like, that's how you promote,
Yeah.
which is what we're going to get into right now.
Yeah.
But organically, I started 2 years ago. I had 300 and something followers 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then today, I'm up to like, I think it's like 680, which is not a huge jump, but I mean,
Double
it
up.
is.
Double. It's about double.
It's
like
doubled, and that's without promoting. You know what I mean? That's
Right,
was just
right.
me posting my shit and then like using a couple hashtags here and there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's about it. You know?
Yeah.
So
growing is the most
growing.
important thing,
Mhm,
whether it be
mhm.
slow or fast. As long as you're moving in a direction, I always feel that's very important because no one should be stationary.
Mhm.
You always want to go somewhere. You know, think with the end in mind. Have plan with the step 1, 2, and 3, and let the rest follow through. You know,
Yeah.
everything will come into place.
Yeah.
Just like how we were talking about earlier, like just don't stop doing it. Show up is very important.
Yep. As long as you keep doing it, like just you're inevitably, if you keep doing this, like if you keep pushing forward and keep growing at doing it, doing whatever it might be, you're gonna inevitably get better at it.
Yeah.
You're
Definitely.
just doing it enough that practice, is going to come into play. And
It's
you're
like
gonna get
Bruce Lee
better.
said. He was like, I fear the man that practiced a kick 10,000 times. Or something
Yeah.
like that, you know? Like, hell yeah, that guy that practiced a kick for 10,000 times, he can probably do that kick very well.
Right,
You
right.
know?
And that comes into play with even like, when you go on stage and like, I know last week we were talking about like, I don't really get super nervous anymore. I get like jittery and like adrenaline rush. And then I go out on stage and it's just like fun. And it stopped being this nervous thing. And that's just because you do it so many times that you just look forward to doing it. And like when you mess up on stage, like being able to like hide it and not like freak out about it, you have to mess up on stage and feel that freak out multiple times and learn how to deal with it and cope with it. And then when you do mess up, you're like, oh, that's fine. I can just grab a new stick or whatever it is. Or like I can look at my bandmates and we can get back on or whatever it might be, however you messed up. You just have to play it off and keep going, and the crowd will probably not even notice it.
This is so true.
Like, they probably won't even notice it, especially if you've got good stage presence and your energy is there. The crowd's just going to be vibing, and then if you mess it up, and if you're like, oh shit, sorry, I messed up, then they know. But if you just keep going, then they're not even going to blink, not even bat an eye about it. Like,
like when
you didn't either. You just feel normal.
When I was competing in martial arts, if you messed up in like doing a form or something, my dad would always tell me, just keep going like you meant to do it. Because like,
Yeah,
Till you
exactly.
make it.
a lot of the times some people either won't even notice or they don't even know what you're doing anyways. So it's
Exactly.
like,
Yeah, don't exploit your own arrow.
yeah, exactly. So before we get into our topic again, I have a couple more questions.
Handle.
Philosopher.
This officer.
What is the ideal goal here? I know you said you want to be kind of like an online presence type of thing, like get your music out there and you want people to listen, but
Yeah.
is there anything bigger that you're aiming for? Or I know like right now your sights are on this full length album. But what's next? Like what's after that?
For me personally, because I know every artist has their own different plan, my goal is to definitely be able to reach out to other artists almost in my racketeer, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of in the same range as me and be able to collab. Like I just want to work on music. Like literally, I want to make music.
Yeah.
And reaching out to other people and having people reach out to me and being like, yo, let's make a song or something, cross-pollinate our fans. I think that's something that would be a great step for me to take once I release this and gain some kind of attention with momentum or momentum with attention. Yeah, I think that's my goal, is to literally have people recognize me and fuck with me and just make more music. Like, I just want this to be my livelihood, not in a way where like I want to sign and make hella money, because that's not even in the plan. Like my plan is just to make music and reach
do
out
what
to
you
people
love.
Yeah.
and work with people, most importantly,
Yeah.
because
As long as you can keep making music every day.
yeah, as long as I can pay my bills, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make my music, meet people, definitely travel.
Yeah.
You know, and especially start performing, because I think the next tier of my plan would be being in front of a stage or in front of people. You know, and I mean, I performed before. I was like in performance band, like in the marching band and shit.
Yeah.
So I've definitely done that, but never with my vocals. Like I've never sang in front of people. I've never like, you know, done that kind of thing. So that's definitely be a new experience that I can't wait.
And you got a coach.
Yeah, I got
Kinda
this
guide you.
badass fucking guy over here that has been helping me endlessly. He has like the most advice. Anytime I have a question, this dude will literally fucking talk my ear off. Yeah, this guy will just have so much to fucking say, and it's so dope because I absorb all that and I take it into consideration and I use it, you know?
Yeah, and I don't want to like have it come off as though like I know everything about how to do this, because I don't. Like I still learn every day.
Experience, and you need
I
to
have been
share
doing it
that
for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the thing with like people who don't understand, like you're helping him out, and let's say when he starts performing, and you guys have been doing this for a long time, so you're gonna kind of feel like kind of like the need to kind of like give him advice or kind of guide him. And if he's the kind of person who's not going to be understanding to what you're saying, you know, he could easily get offended that, you think you know everything, John? You know, but that's
that comes
not
with
it.
Character. That comes with character.
It does come with
whether
character,
you're an
definitely.
athlete, an artist, a student, you got to be coachable.
Yeah.
You got to be
Sportsmanship.
open. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Open-minded.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like that's like part of my role, you know what I mean, as a producer. Like, I always say I'm the hidden band member that no one knows about, you know, like you shouldn't be
the unsung hero.
Yeah, you should be listening to the band. Like when you listen to the album, you shouldn't be listening to how I produced it or like wondering what parts I added or what not, or like how I changed it. It should just be like you absorb the song and absorb what the artist has put out.
Right.
And then like, so that's, as you know, I see that as part of my role is to try to take any artist that comes with me and make them into the best possible product to put out, you know?
Shape them into
exactly, and try to help
what
them
everyone
work.
else is going
And,
to see and perceive.
I always say, like, take my advice with a grain of salt because everyone's got their own path that they're going to go on for, you know, in the music industry. And if you don't want my advice, I don't have to give it to you. Like, you can tell me just to shut up and record you, and then I'll give you your tracks and you go home.
Yeah, just do your job.
Like,
bro.
I can do that. But if you want if you ask me questions, you want my advice, I'm more than happy to sit here and just have a conversation with you about like my experiences in it and where I think like the best, like looking back at what I've done in my careers in the industry, like I can look back and see where my mistakes and my faults were and where I should have changed things. And so when I give you advice, I'm going to be like, yo, I tried this. It doesn't work. Do this instead. Like, cause I think this might be better, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, and also just like with the live thing and like the path that you should take as a musician, especially with younger musicians, it's like, it's interesting to look back to a point where I once was,
right,
and be able to kind of like do it again, but vicariously almost. And you know, I like to help coach through that. Right. So like,
yeah, because I could have been just like, bro, just hit the record button.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Shut the fuck up, John. Let me rap. Let me do my thing, dude. Okay, let me do my fucking thing.
Yeah, straight up, it could have been like that, but since we already had a previous relationship of just being friends and coworkers, like it was just you know, it just came together as that.
Yep.
Okay, one more pillow.
What?
Pillow soap her.
He's trying to pronounce it different ways every time.
Yeah. Pillow
Spice it up.
soap her.
Spice it up.
I'd do a feature with you, bro.
Thanks, bro. I'll take in consideration.
If you have me.
No,
If you
I
would
want to hear
have
you
me,
spit at least 4 bars
I will spit.
before
There you
you
go.
get it on.
Yeah.
Before we get it on.
Real quick.
Was the philosopher a nickname given to you, or is that something you like chose to be referred as?
So
like, why the philosopher?
Yeah, like I said, when I was in my first year of college, like I was deciding what to be and what to do. anytime I was having conversation with my friends from back home, like I would always be like the very open minded, but like, what if, like, or yeah, but try and like create.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, yeah, like if you can help me with this,
Well,
just
I was gonna say, hearing it sounds like like you're the one who's gonna be like try to come up with the next idea, like be like the one who's postulating, like you said, like the what if, like or like
yeah,
how about this, or
yeah, like try to think outside the box, and it just kind of stayed with me, and then I would get trolled on, like literally, because my friends are just big trolls. They love making fun of each other. So it kind of started off as a troll, like shut up, philosopher, like it was a joke. So I kind of just grabbed it and ran with it. So to this day, I see it more as a title, not really a name, because I mean, the philosopher, like who wants to say that many syllables for an artist? That's a shit ton. So I've been like in the works of like trying to come up with like a more realistic name. But I think the philosopher is something I'm always going to take with me no matter what.
Yeah.
That's nice though that it kind of goes hand in hand with like your everyday life and your history, the way you, brought up and lived life, and with the art that you create.
And you could also do like, if you do come up with a name, it would be like blah 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 the philosopher.
Yeah, definitely.
Boom.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna like completely eliminate it and just be like, who, like the philosopher? No, I've never heard of him. But no,
I'm Snoop Lion now.
Snoop Lion.
Dude, I love that album.
Dude, yeah, I think
Snoop Lion's great.
This dude had a bunch of
it was
like, badass
great,
producers,
but I don't
man.
think you should have changed the name, dude.
Hey,
No,
but
so
he
he
can do what he
Did you watch the documentary?
Yeah,
bro?
no, I
reincarnated.
didn't.
Bro, yeah, he
Yeah.
reincarnated. He went down and he said that he's not.
Hey,
He's not always Snoop Lion.
hey.
It's his alternate personality.
Yes, he's only Snoop
Yeah.
Lion when he's enlightened.
And you see that a
He's
lot
not
in
always
music.
enlightened.
You see that a lot in music, especially like in the EDM world. People have alter egos, like Porter Robinson. Fuck, I forgot. Virtual
TIP.
reality, whatever his alter ego is.
Or like there's Eminem and then
Slim Shady.
Shady.
Yeah.
And what's the other one?
Logic and
No.
Bobby Tarantino.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go.
Oh, yeah.
Logic and
See?
Bobby.
Hey.
What?
Don't care. Okay, let's go. Moving
Yeah.
on.
God damn it.
Quavo, Huncho. You know what I'm saying?
Offset.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
All right.
that's where my name came from. But really, people just call me Vic. Like it's not like a normal day-to-day base. Like people literally call me philosopher. It's more like when it calls it. When the moment calls for it, I'll be the philosopher. People call me.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Anything
So,
else?
Do we want to move into this sort of topic?
I can ask questions
kinda
all
brushed on
fucking
it.
day, dude.
Me too.
We kind of touched on it and then we stopped, and now we're at an hour.
Touch it again.
All right, I'll touch it again.
Oh.
Oh. Anyways, so we were kind of talking about, and him and I were talking about this earlier, Vic and I, kind of about like social media presence, having to use online platforms as a way of promotion. As an artist, we all sort of give up our privacy. And that's something that you kind of just like sign in the contract of wanting to be in the public eye. Because then as you get bigger and bigger, people want to know more and more about you. They want to see all that behind the scenes stuff. And basically your life is kind of under a microscope, and you give up that sort of sense of privacy. Not everyone, most people aren't that way. Like they don't give up that sense of privacy. A lot of people have that. And so like, I kind of came to terms with that a while ago, because I just realized I was like, I got to keep content coming on social media to help with, being an artist. It's just part of the game. I got to be posting every day. Posting every day, having stories and stuff. It's all just like your whole life is just out there. And then we use tools like social media, like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and all that kind of stuff, not only to just publish things, but also to promote things, which comes into buying ads, using targeted ads towards people you think are going to like your music.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of brings us to the topic of I guess it is using social media for targeted ads a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it, because basically those people who've chosen not to give up their privacy have kind of been roped into things like Facebook and Instagram without fully understanding the terms and conditions of it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And like, they, the minute you post anything online, it's such a new thing that most people don't quite understand that doesn't ever go away. That it's on display for anyone to be able to see. Even if you've got like a private profile, Facebook still uses a lot of your information to send you targeted ads from big companies that buy the data. And like,
now
it's basically the moral aspect behind that, because that's something that we genuinely use to our advantage, that they do that. But then other people also do that for more nefarious reasons. And so it's kind of that, where do you draw the line aspect, Now
are the targeted ads like basically Facebook or Instagram or whatever guessing about like who would like your music, or do they actually go through and be like, oh, this person posted this and they might like this? You know what I mean? Like, is it that
so all that
depth?
All that data gets run through an algorithm, and so like every time you like something on Facebook, every time you like a page, if you on Facebook, you can input so much information about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I go to run an ad, right, I click on the post that I want. Like, I will post something, and then I will see which posts do really well with our natural crowd anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the posts that I'm going to promote because they already did well in an organic crowd. So let's put them in front of a non-organic crowd as well to help draw things, to help push it forward. And that's the same. It's just basic marketing. It happens with commercials and things like that. And, the ads you see online, it happens with the big billboards. That's why they have like focus groups for movies to see what does well, what doesn't do well. And then they take the thing that does well in the small crowd and they put it in front of the large crowd in hopes that that's going to be the one that more people are drawn to.
Right.
But then when I do that, I'll post, you basically get like the option to choose what area you're promoting in. So it literally goes through and takes where you've said that you live. And then it goes into, if you like music is the category. So if you liked music on your page, then it's going to more likely put it in front of you because you're more likely to click on the ad.
So, okay.
All that kind of stuff.
So where is this line in the sand that you want to draw?
I don't know. That's my question, is where do you draw that line?
Okay,
because
so
of this.
I think
this documentary that we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There's a company called Cambridge Analytica, correct? Okay, so it's a documentary on Netflix. I don't remember the name of the documentary. I don't know if you have it pulled up there, Julia. It's a scary documentary for sure, because they basically use all of this data. They're a third party that bought the data from Facebook, and then they work for political teams. And so depending on who's hired them, they will be like, this person likes more Republican stuff, or this person likes more Democratic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like, these are the people that we think will be able to change their minds on stuff. So then they'll start like hashtags, and then something will catch and they'll let it grow organically. And basically they're like tricking large groups of people into thinking they had their own idea about this, and like pushing for a political campaign and feeding like fake news and running false ads to basically entrench people into ideas or sway people to a certain idea to make a certain candidate win the elections. And they've not only done this in the United States, but they've done this. So they helped with the Trump election. They helped with the Brexit thing. And then there's probably I think there's 20 or 30 other countries where they've actually done this in.
Mm-hmm.
So they experimented with it in all these other countries, and they were like, well, let's try Britain and let's try the US now.
Okay, so I think that if you put something online, that is your choice for it to be on there,
I
to
agree.
be accessed by whoever has access.
I
So, Facebook, you're putting your shit, you put your birthday on there,
Yes.
you put your phone number on there, you put your pictures on there, you like pages of
Mhm.
what music you like or what bands you like. That is out there for the world to see.
I agree.
Now, if Facebook is going to let this company buy that information,
Mm-hmm.
is it wrong? Okay, wait, no, not necessarily wrong. Is it unethical?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So it's illegal in Britain. It is not in the U.S.
Okay, so if that's what happens, then to each their own, people are going to do what they want with this information.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are they going in there and are they calling you every fucking day? Or are they fucking stealing your information? Or are they stealing,
Right,
your
right.
identity? But no, but they're using that as leeway to kind of
They're targeting you with specific.
target specific things, and I guess try to sway you to like you said, to vote one way or to donate to
Right.
something or whatever. But at the same time, the internet is huge.
It is.
Wild place.
It is.
It is a huge wild place,
Why,
and
like, kids shouldn't be on the internet.
in a way,
because
I feel like you can't really draw that line when you're choosing to put this information out there onto the
I agree.
internet.
I think that it's because it was such so when it Facebook is still relatively new in terms of the age of everything.
Mankind.
It's 30 years ago there was no Facebook.
Right.
So it's still a very new thing. So when it first came out, I think the problem was there was not enough education about it. Everyone just checked that terms and conditions, whatever. No one really knew what they were getting into, and Facebook used it, and other companies used it to their advantage. And it's basically like I look at Facebook as the biggest and best data collecting con of all time, right? Like you used to have door-to-door salesmen who would just go by and sell you shit or whatever, and they try to con you right at the front door, whatever. People didn't like that. What happens is now marketers have come up with a way to basically do that and sell things to you without you even really noticing. Like, you can, depending on all of your data that you're using every single day, all of that is going to shape what ad pops up.
Yeah.
And what you see. And it's in hope that you're going to want to be like, oh shit, I like this. I'm going to go click on it and I'm going to go buy this thing from Amazon or whatever it is.
Well, see, here's the thing is that the in a way they have this it's not like a deal, but at the same time, like in a way the internet is connected in a way to where you're going to go and you're going to look up, oh, I need cat food. And you look up your cat food on Amazon or wherever the fuck you buy it. And then you're going to go back on Facebook and they were like, oh,
cat food.
Did you need cat food?
Yeah.
Here you go. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's so creepy that shit happens.
And it's because it's all that data that's getting...
All the data, but it's all connected.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Yeah. So before, like, it was a very... It wasn't connected like that before. Like maybe it was, but like it wasn't a big whole circle.
There wasn't enough data, I think. Now that there's enough data, like they've collected enough data on people to be able to really, really hardcore recommend exactly what you're looking for. And the algorithms have gotten better.
It's not just marketing though. It's not just the marketing people. It's everything. It's everything. It's cell phone companies.
No, I know. But that's because they get paid for that data by the marketers, by whoever it is too, because it's like tons of companies use it. You know what I mean? Like, and like I said, even like companies like this and Cambridge Analytica, I believe, doesn't exist anymore. They went under they filed for bankruptcy in order to avoid a lot of charges because their company was getting. They said that they didn't, but it's like pretty damn obvious that that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
But it's like, and they even went as far as they were running this like personality test, right? And it was like, a lot of people just take those tests and they're like, go look and see what this personality test says you are.
Yeah.
And they take that test, and then anyone who they're friends with, that test was written the algorithm for it would be like if you clicked on it, then everyone in your friends list, all of their data also gets sucked up into it.
Damn.
So there's a lot of people who didn't even go and do the test, but it sucked their data in too, in order to figure out who to target stuff to. But they literally just were like, how do we get people to give us their own data willingly? And they're like, we'll put a personality test up there. But like, how do you feel about this topic? And then that would be able to eliminate a lot of people that they were like, there's no way we're changing their mind. There's a bunch of people already on our side. All these people in the middle, we can change their mind.
The on the fence people.
And so then they'd be like, okay, now we need to target them hardcore with these ads that are convincing, whether they be true or not. We're going to make up these extra hashtags. That company is where the Crooked Hillary hashtag came from. They're the ones who created that whole thing. And it blew up because they introduced it to a few people, and then it just starts getting shared and shared and shared and shared. And people, this is what we were talking. I feel like we've talked about this before. People get in their own bubbles of things that they think are right.
Yeah.
And they don't fact check stuff. And they just believe that video that they saw on Facebook, and they share it. And then the next person shares it, and it just turns into this whole mess.
There's a Black Mirror episode that goes like that. There's like this hashtag, and then like, yeah, it's crazy.
I
Super
think
descriptive.
the thing is like there's not much that you can do, and when it comes to all that stuff, like it's gonna happen regardless,
Right?
and
that's sorry, go ahead.
whether or not the information is getting sucked up, like it's out there. It's out there, and you know what? Like you made that choice, and
I agree.
And now, like, yeah, maybe 15, 20 years ago when Facebook first started, people didn't know, like, oh, well, my information is on here, and they don't read the terms and conditions. But I mean, like nowadays, people know.
Everyone
People
knows.
still sign up. People still like get on some sort of email list, or you know what I mean. Like it happens every fucking day. And is it right that people are getting manipulated for all these things? No, not necessarily. But are they even really? Do they even really need to manipulate you? Because all that shit's already out there. They don't need.
I think
they don't need your
where
permission.
the line
Right.
that
It's
needs
already
to be drawn
there.
is it's up to like you as an individual. Like I see
Well,
ads
until
for
somebody-
stuff all the time that are political, like for Bernie Sanders or whoever. That doesn't mean I'm just going to be like, oh my God, I see. Oh, yes, I'm going to go vote for that person that I just saw an ad about.
That's also like a mentality thing. Like
I think it's an education thing.
Educational, and just every person is their own person.
Yeah.
Now,
I think
if you're gonna
education
ask
about
me,
the internet.
if you're gonna ask me where that line should be drawn, I think personally, if it's not going to personally affect you as a person or in your daily life, that information can be used for whatever they need to be used for.
Right.
That's just how I think, because it's going to get done. It's going to happen either way. And you're making the choice to put that information out there.
Yeah, yeah.
You're making the choice to be on Facebook every day. You're making the choice to be on Instagram. You're making the choice to like a stupid meme about all this other shit.
My question would be, do people genuinely have a choice? Or do people feel like they're pressured to have Facebook and Instagram now just by society because almost everyone's got one, right? Then it's like, do you, in order to stay connected with your friends from high school later on after you graduate, or you meet someone and you're like, hey, you know, that person's going to be like, yeah, I don't text very much. I'm on Instagram. Hit me up there. And you're like, I don't have an Instagram. Like,
it's a choice, dude.
I know, but
it's a
choice. But I'm saying, is there a societal
obligation,
a societal pressure to be there now because it's become this platform, and it's like if you're not there, then you're a ghost. You know, like how are you? You know, like how do you?
Personally, I think it's not so easy to create your own idea of what reality is and then move forward with it to have other people see it and then influence them to create for their own. Like, I think it's just so much easier to be like, oh, everything's happening fast. we're all doing this. I'm gonna also do this.
Mhm,
You know, so
mhm.
it's like one of those things, like monkey see, monkey do. Just because you don't want to think for yourself, you don't want to exert your brain and be like, oh nah, this is wrong, this is right. No, you see it often, so you think this is true or real. And I think that's where the fault and the power of being able to put that kind of information of agenda, or whether it be political or musical, it can really distort personal realities.
Okay, so and what you just said kind of reminded me of something. Is it just proves more and more that human beings are sheep. You know what I mean?
No, I feel
but
you.
like for real,
That's why they call God the shepherd,
Yeah,
right? It's just like, because we are, bro, literally.
I saw this video the other day, and it was like there was a group of people in a waiting room, and there's a new person who comes and sits down, and they wanted to test, do people do things just because everybody else is doing it?
Yeah.
And so they're sitting in this waiting room, and then they go, you hear a beep, and everybody stands up and then sits back down. And that new person is just like looking at everybody like, what the fuck? And then again, beep, everybody stands up, and this person is still confused.
Yeah.
After like the third time,
He stands up
they
too.
go beep, and that person stands up with the group. Now, just to prove it even more, is they started it was like a doctor's office or something. They started calling everybody in, so there was less and less people, and they just kept doing it. Every time it beeped, they stand up, sit down. Then it was down to just the one person who was the new person.
Yeah.
And then a new customer comes in,
It beeped and
checks
he stood up.
in, goes, sits down, and it goes beep. That guy's still standing up by himself.
There's no one there anymore.
And then there's that new person who's like, what the
confused.
fuck?
Yeah.
And then again, after 2 or 3 times, that person
stands
starts
up.
standing
Yeah.
up.
Hey,
And
I
then
got you on
again,
one.
and
I got you on
again.
one.
Yeah,
So there's
yeah.
this other theoretical experiment where there's a group of monkeys, and they hang bananas, right? So whenever one monkey tries to go get the bananas, the tester like throws something at them. So it's like no, don't go for the bananas.
Yeah.
And with themselves, whenever they see another person or another monkey go for the bananas, they beat each other up, right? So slowly but surely, they start removing one monkey that has already known the routine of like no to the bananas that are there, and they allow a new monkey to come in. The monkey comes in, he's like, oh, bananas, I'm gonna go get one. But then everyone else is like, nah, you don't,
bananas,
you don't do that. Like, so we're gonna beat you up. And he's like, man, I'm beat. A new monkey comes in, same routine, and surely this the previous monkey that had just joined jumps in to the beat up because he's like, this is what we do. This is what we do.
No bananas. Yeah.
Yeah, and once all the original monkeys have disappeared and all the new monkeys
Have come in.
the
trend keeps going.
the trend keeps going, but they lose sight of why they were doing that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's very intriguing to see that, because you see it with religion, because so much years pass by, but we're
Doing the same thing.
We're doing the same thing because we base it on the book or of thousands and thousands of years, but we lose sight of what it really meant or what we're supposed to do with it. So now we're struggling to have new profound thinkers, or like people that take charge on saying no to this or creating a new movement, because we're so used to routine, tradition, culture being the way it is that we don't want to change it. So we just kind of let it happen. And I think that's what's bad with Cambridge Analytica and stuff like
humans
that.
Humans are like comfortability. Humans don't like change.
It's not necessarily even
a lot of people
humans.
love a routine.
It's just the brain in general. So even in animals and bugs and there every creature, I believe, is a creature of habit.
No, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And
Patterns.
also
Patterns is very important.
Yes.
habits, like
Habitual.
like my
Sorry, I just
cat,
wanted to
for
say that word.
instance. My cat.
Habitch. Oh.
Well, I think it's part of the evolution. That's how we.
Dude, I
you know?
trained my cat
Yeah.
No
to
way.
sit, dude. My cat sits. She wants food, she sits. I tell her to sit down, she sits down, she gets her food.
That's dope.
If I get a
Yeah.
snack and that's not even an animal that's even known to be trained.
Fuck
Yeah, yeah,
no.
yeah.
But
They
like,
have their own attitudes.
if my cat goes to sit on me, I'm like, I don't want you sitting on me today.
Yeah.
You sit right here. She'll sit next to me.
Nice.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Only because it was a routine. Like, yeah, at first it was kind of a bitch to be like, not give her food until she sat. But now she sits. Now she knows the drill. Also, another hypothetical
Social experiment.
social experiment.
Are these all hypothetical or did they actually
Well,
happen?
I don't.
Mine,
The one
honestly,
that I saw
I just
actually
read
happened.
it. I read it, so that's why I said
Okay.
theoretical
No.
because
Okay.
I don't know if it really happened.
Now this one, I don't know if it actually happened, but it makes sense because it connects to
Can we
the
look it
way. Yeah, you can look it up if you want.
Fact check.
What up?
Fact checker.
Well, to my fact checking.
Okay, so there's this experiment that
Look up the banana one as well, if you could.
So there is an experiment where they took a donkey, right, and it makes sense because humans are the exact same way. So they grabbed a donkey, put it in a room, put one meal on one side of the room, one meal on the other side of the room.
Yeah.
They put the donkey closer to one meal, and they let it choose what meal it wanted.
Yeah.
Same meals. Sorry.
Saying, well,
Same.
I don't know.
Okay.
It was just two
Doesn't
meals.
matter. Just
Okay. Yeah.
meals.
Yeah.
So then what meal does it go to?
The further away one.
The one that's closer.
Oh.
Easy, right?
I guess it's
Yes,
the easy
the
one.
easiest
I would
route.
have thought it was one of those grass is greener things where you're like, oh, that one's probably better than the one I have here.
So then the next,
Anyway.
That's a lot of hope for a
but
donkey.
but there's a thing. There's a thing is even if the one that's further away is like, let's say for humans,
Is it way
fucking
better?
slice of pizza, and then the one that's closer is broccoli. You know, you might just go for the broccoli
'Cause it's
because
right
it's
there.
right there. The next day they got same donkey, put it in the room, but put it closer to the other meal.
And it went for that one.
And it went for the other meal. And then they got the same donkey. And I'm guessing the room is pretty big. They got the same donkey, same meals, each side of the room. Put the donkey dead smack in the middle of the room. And theoretically,
Yes.
this donkey starved to death.
Shut up.
Because it did not know which way to go. It didn't know, do I want that meal or do I want that meal?
Gotcha.
And they're both the exact distance away, and it couldn't make a decision
Interesting.
on which meal it wanted.
Yeah, I want to know if that
Now,
actually happened
obviously, humans won't starve to death
No,
if you
no.
put it in the middle of a room.
I'm gonna be like, dude, I'm
But-
hungry.
But, you know, hypothetically speaking, humans do act that way
Yeah, yeah.
with certain situations.
Yeah, like the way you were talking about your cat, how like with patterns and habits, letting them know, like, no, don't do this, do this.
Yeah.
When you're ready, if you apply that much information to a person,
Yeah.
you can literally persuade them into thinking that they're going on a track of their own.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
and that's what this company did.
Yeah.
They persuaded people to think that they came up with the idea.
Like, for instance, last night I was eating dinner, right? And my cat is so fucking relentless when you have food, and she's like,
I
give
love
me,
cats.
give me, give me. But all I did was I was like, you know what? I'm not going to deal with this shit today. I went to the room, I grabbed the spray bottle, which I haven't touched in over a year. It's like when I was training her at
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
All I did was sit down and I just held it up in front of her, just like
Yep.
that. I didn't even point it at her. I
No,
didn't
yeah.
try to spray her. I just held it up, and she went,
She,
and she was like, nope, I'm out. And she
PTSD,
fucking
y'all, like,
just,
with the
yeah, she
trauma.
just fucking
Yep.
ran
She's like,
away.
nope, I'm not having any part of
Or
that.
if she didn't run away, all I did was hold it up, and then her eyes
Get
squint.
that, like, yeah, she's like,
like-
please don't.
like,
Yeah.
like if she was getting sprayed.
Yes.
Yeah, like I
You
already
know?
live in it.
Right.
So it's pretty crazy that it's like, I
to
haven't
show
touched
it
this
the
water
object.
bottle in
Yeah.
so long because she's been good, you know,
Yeah.
like I had her trained already, but when she's a little shithead, I pull it out and all I have to do is just show it to her. And then she knows, like she just knows.
Yeah, my parents' cats like used to get up on the table a bunch, and my parents didn't want them on the table. So if they got on the table, it was just a squirt with a spray bottle, and they'd get down, and then they just started just leaving the spray bottle on the table, and they were like, "No, not getting on the table," and they
Yep.
stopped getting on the table, and then they could just take the spray bottle away, and they just knew not to get on the table.
Yeah.
And then if they did, it became that same sort of deal where you're like, you really like spray bottle, and then they'd be like, "Okay, you know what? Fuck that, I'm out of here."
Yeah.
Okay.
So the monkey with the banana
Bananas?
experiment, there's bunches of different versions,
Uh-huh.
but that was never actually
Attempted?
tested.
Gotcha.
So it is
Yeah.
theoretical.
Yes.
For the donkey one, interestingly enough, you would think it was switched
Yeah.
around, but they've actually done hundreds of actual experiments with it.
Holy
And
shit.
it's the paradox is called Buridan's ass.
Burdens.
Buridan
Burden?
apostrophe s ass. It's
So Burden was a person, I'm assuming then. Like that's his.
that's probably like the
The-
first
yeah,
donkey
yeah.
that was ever tested. It was
Oh.
Burdens or whatever. But there's
But
it's
does it end that way? Is that how it like? Does that donkey starve to death, or does it like? How does it end?
there were so many experiments. It just depends on which
Interesting.
website. And there's
Uh-huh.
there's one on Wikipedia. There's philosophynow.org,
Just try the Wikipedia one and see if there's
Science Daily.
anything quick.
Nice, interesting. So it's definitely a done experiment.
Honestly, now that we're talking about experiments, that's basically data mining.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so you're
It's a large social experiment.
definitely you're gaining all of this information, and I think where the line needs to be drawn is what you do with the information. You know,
Mhm.
because
But who's to say what is good and what's bad? That's the next line. You know?
your
It's
morals.
not necessarily good.
Right, no, that's what I'm
It's
saying.
not
though,
I don't
like,
know, that's a tough one.
necessarily
Yeah,
good or bad.
Because
It's
some people at who are running Cambridge Analytica would have been like, "This is perfectly fine. We should do this."
Yeah,
And it's like this
is God's work.
This is terrible, and you're like, dude, what? Because people get that entrenched in their head that they're doing the. I feel like people are inherently thinking they're doing what's the right thing to do.
well, good and bad is
It's subjective.
it's subjective, and it's how what good and bad is how it's perceived. Who perceives it to be what? Who perceives
Yeah,
this to
and
be
it's-
good, or this could be bad to somebody else?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now the question is, if what
Where's that
is
moral line?
ethicality?
Right, right.
You know-
is it
sometimes-
ethical?
But that's the
I'm
whole
sorry.
debate is what is ethical, what is not ethical, what is moral, what is not moral.
But I think
I think that's an age-old debate, though. Like, I think that debate has been going on for centuries.
I think ethicality is a little more set in stone, though.
I don't.
You don't think so?
Uh-uh. I think that we could perceive something to be, like, everyone in this room could think that one thing is either ethical or not ethical. But someone else could think that what we thought was ethical is completely wrong
Okay.
and unethical.
Okay, so
You know what I mean?
but there's always that unwritten rule of what's ethical or not.
or unspoken rule.
Unspoken, yeah,
So, but it's-
unspoken
okay.
rule. So,
But I don't think
so
it's
like
universal.
one thing, like in a general sense, has nothing to do with social media or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
But when you quit your job,
Mhm.
what's the ethical thing to do?
Put in your 2 weeks.
Put in your 2 weeks.
Right, right.
File for welfare.
Now it could be it could be right to somebody to just be like, fuck this place, I'm out.
Yeah.
It could be wrong to somebody else to do
Mhm.
that. Now it could also be right to fuck up so bad that you get fired instead of quitting,
Mm-hmm.
but that could be wrong to somebody else.
Right.
So that unspoken rule of
Mhm.
ethicality is to put in your 2 weeks, fucking get the last 2 weeks over and done with, and then you're done professionally. And you know what I
So-
mean?
No, I feel you. But okay, so here's an age-old question: is do you steal bread to feed your starving family?
Yes.
Why?
Aladdin
Like-
did.
I know, but that's what I'm saying though. It's like,
They almost cut his hand off for it.
Yeah.
but it's
Yep.
it's ethical to want to feed your family, right? Or that's like a personal, like it's you want to be able to feed your family,
Yeah, yeah.
but then you also have to break the law and steal. So, but it's unethical to steal.
I got
So
you on that. I
it's-
got you. So
Where does that
It's
line get drawn? What is more
prioritizing.
exactly? But
Well,
who is going to prioritize what? Some people
that-
would be like, some people might answer no.
That's why I think it's so interesting, though, that the society as a whole is so easily influenced and easily peer pressured into things because we
Mhm.
all very clearly have our own opinions on everything. So
Mhm.
I mean, it's just crazy how like one person can think it's unethical for this, and this,
Right.
but another person could, and then like all of a sudden someone else's opinion could be changed
Mm-hmm.
on what is or isn't right because
Right.
someone else thinks that something else is not right.
And also have to look at influence of things like religion and moral teachings, because that's going to have an effect on what people think is ethical. based on, whatever morals that their belief system holds.
Yeah, you're so right about that because if you want to take it back to your bread question, like, do you steal bread to feed your family?
Yeah.
That goes back to doing a little bad for the greater good. And
okay, sorry, finish.
No,
finish.
I mean, that was basically my statement. Yeah, so like it's for the greater good, but you have to break a little bit of a law or,
right.
bad.
So it's, I don't know, I think that's, like I said, that's the whole conundrum of that question is where do you draw the line of how much law do you break to make how much good? Like where does it then, stop outwearing? How do you measure that?
I think
where do you put that?
I think the most important thing is if you're stealing bread to feed your starving family, it's not like you shouldn't necessarily just be okay with it. Like you shouldn't be like, oh fuck yeah, I fucking stole this bread.
Right.
Like I
have some remorse.
I speed to get to work on time. I'm careful about it and I don't feel great about it because I know I could get in trouble, but I also know that like I need to get to work on time.
I got a ticket on Thursday.
You got a ticket?
See? And so he probably feels really bad.
Shitty. Yeah.
You know?
That's why cruise control is amazing.
Yeah, fuck me.
Usually I have to use cruise control, but cruise control sometimes ain't going to get me to work on time. So
I'm always like, what? I mean, I don't have to get to work on time anymore, but like,
because it's just like downstairs for you.
It's just downstairs. Yeah, I just got to get up. But like, anywhere I go, even in town, I set the cruise control and I just let my foot sit on the brake. So that way I set it a couple miles over the speed limit. I'm going good. If I need to brake, I'm right there to do it. But, I'm mostly just cruising at the correct speed, just barely over the correct speed. That way people behind me don't get pissed. But
then all that shit goes back to people being creatures of habit. Because when society as a whole, not everybody struggles to feed their family.
No.
So at that point, what is the unethical thing? Stealing the bread. Right?
Right.
Because yes, is it wrong to not feed your family? I guess kind of.
To let them starve.
But does everybody as a whole, as a selective unit, have to make that choice to steal the bread or feed their family?
Then it becomes a fact of like, well, now we live in abundance while some of us don't, and they need to steal the bread to feed their family, and I have way too much bread.
But
is that ethical or is that unethical?
Taxes.
That's communism.
Huh?
No,
that is exactly the whole tax system. You make more money.
But that's not how it works.
This person makes less money.
If they sign up for food stamps,
okay, so no, that's what I'm saying because now
Amazon
the government
paid
is
$0
taking
in taxes last year.
Okay,
still from the rich.
Now you have somebody who makes a lot of money,
right? That's why Robinhood is,
and somebody who doesn't make a lot of money. Now the government takes more from the person who makes more money and less, and gives more to the person who makes less money.
But the thing is,
now tell me why somebody who makes less money can get on welfare and get thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in food stamps
a year, just to be clear.
A year,
right,
yeah,
because it doesn't happen
it's
like
still
in a week.
It's a lot of money. But let's say you make more than a certain amount of money per year, then all of a sudden you don't qualify to get the same
right
amount of money for food stamp, or not in any of it.
No, I agree.
So, and does that mean that you're not struggling to buy groceries still? Like sometimes I struggle to buy groceries, but I don't qualify to get food stamps.
I know. I
you know what I'm saying?
Thing, yeah.
So,
well, no. What I'm saying though is that is in theory how it should and supposed to work, but that's not how it works now because you have people who hide money in offshore bank accounts. There are loopholes in the system that allow people like Amazon to pay $0 in taxes this year. That entity paid $0.
So if you're gonna steal bread, steal it from Amazon.
Yeah, good luck.
Not the local bakery shop.
Good fucking luck,
support
dude.
your local artist, your local baker, your local dealer.
Well, that keeps the money in the local economy, but like, I don't know. I feel like no matter what, there's always going to be someone with a differing opinion on the ethics thing. Like because there are these timeless questions that some people think that the right, it all comes down to where your moral line, where you draw it at,
And it's kind of a gray area because I really feel like it depends on your situation. I mean, people do unthinkable things for something that they think is a cause.
No, yeah, completely.
Worth fighting for.
Completely.
So I think it's really a gray area because anyone
people go
can
to war
agree
for that shit.
or disagree on what this cause is and what rules are being broken to make it happen. It just depends. Obviously, like if you're starving and there's no other way and you steal an apple from fucking Safeway, like, all right, dude, Now if you're gonna go genocide on everyone because you think that a certain race is wrong, then that's crossing a line for sure.
Like we got to think about that one.
Yeah, like you might want to re-strategize that
like
one. But
Thanos.
I mean,
we're talking to you.
In between those two sides of the spectrum, like I really think there is a really big gray area on that. Like,
no, I agree.
And people get lost in that gray area. Like it's so really easy to be like, what is right?
Well, and it's like I even listened to a debate about if modern technology makes people dumb. And at first I went into it and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, like technology makes people so ignorant, blah, 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 blah. But after listening to the debate, I'm like, damn, they're right. With technology, we have unlimited information at our fingertips, but people choose to post stupid shit on Facebook.
Right.
People choose, and it may go hand in hand with like being peer pressured to do that. It may go hand in hand with having choice.
But also...
Yeah, but everything goes hand in hand, but that doesn't change the fact that like people are choosing not to use it the right way. So at the end, I was like, I'm on the other side of the debate now.
Yeah, like...
But also you have all that information at your fingertips. You don't need to know it.
No, but
you
don't need to know it off the top of your head. But I think that standard is raised where it's because now you not only have to rely on your brain, but you can rely on the entire database of the internet.
Well, you can
but you're also not making the effort to know it or learn it or understand
not necessarily.
it.
I could choose to be on Facebook, or I could choose to read an entire article about. Oh, I Googled where do chairs come from. Fun fact, ancient Egypt. I didn't need to Google that because I already Googled it.
I was with you when you Googled that.
Yeah, wasn't that awesome? It was actually, I think it was at the Desert Fish show I went to when he first introduced me to the charity show.
Yeah.
I was kind of buzzing and I sat on the chair and I'm like, oh my God, chairs are such a great invention. Like,
where did we get these?
Where did this come from?
But what's cool is like you have being able to have a curious thought and you can immediately start going and doing research. You know what I mean? And checking and figuring that out.
And you can choose to retain the information.
Right.
Or
which is one of those things I think it should be held to a higher standard. Like now, like it's really easy to be able to get a computer and start recording into it, right? And there's so many tools available, but productions should be held to a higher standard now because it's a lot easier than having to have a big tape machine and a massive board and all this kind of stuff. The accessibility and the tools are better, so the standard gets raised. You know what I mean? Like the same, I think, should be for us and the way we research something. It's like, well, you have so many tools available to you, your standard should be raised higher.
And then going back on to what Juan was saying, though, I do agree because I know who invented chairs, but I still to this day cannot get to work without GPS.
Right? Yeah.
But also, that goes back to like when you were saying people were using all this information to create fake news and get people to go sway one way or the other. It's also a choice in somebody to read this article that's fake news and then do the research to actually to disprove it or
just immediately
don't believe everything face
so they
value.
read it. Yeah, exactly. But a lot of people look at something and they're like,
immediately it's true.
And then what happens? I read that somebody fucking shoved a whole banana up their ass and then they fucking threw it up. You know what I mean? Like something stupid, and I'll be like, I read that and I'll be like, oh, Julia, did you see that somebody shoved a whole banana up their ass?
And then I'd go home and be like, oh.
What?
Yep.
Just kidding.
Jesus. Okay.
Come back. Hey, Juan, just so you know, that
Doesn't
did
work.
not work.
That's not how it works, man. Oh, yeah.
That's why the banana's still up there.
Going back to there being so much information and, double checking and doing something with it. I think it is very important and vital for everyone to have a hand on information. You know, don't let information control you.
Yeah.
You control information. And I think that's the lesson between, you know, what we're talking about
agree.
between the sides.
Take everything that comes at you with a grain of salt until you've done
Research
your own
behind
research,
it,
and then make sure that you know what you're talking about and that you know whatever idea or opinion you have is your own, but also supported by other things, especially when
by
it's
facts and stuff.
When it's as important as political standpoints, where it's literally affecting everyone else in a certain country.
Yeah.
I think, you know, if it's your religious view, whatever. Because that's not literally affecting how much taxes I'm paying or what the
problem
job
is when
market
you bleed
is.
religion into the government, which is
that's
supposed to be
whole-
separated.
That's its own.
And especially in this country, we have a separation of church and state, or we're supposed to.
Yeah.
You know?
We're supposed to.
Supposed to, but that's a whole different thing.
But I don't know. I think it's important that you know what you're talking about, but also even if you don't, like I talk out of my ass a lot of times, and because I think that I know something. But I think it's important to be open to the idea of you being wrong.
Definitely.
We
and
kind of touched base on that in the last episode.
Yeah. And especially like in that episode, I don't know everything about that topic. And so, you know.
But to be willing to learn.
Exactly.
Like if I don't know, teach me.
Yeah.
To have that kind of mindset instead of, no, I know what I'm saying. You're wrong.
Right. I think
that.
you've got to be okay with the fact that you might be wrong. And then you can be like, if someone presents you with better evidence and your opinion is now not invalid, but your opinion is now changing because of the better evidence put in front of you, then I think you should be willing and open to change that way, you know, and be like, okay, well, I thought this before. I was wrong about it. Someone has now changed my opinion because their evidence makes sense. And then I can double check their evidence and go around. And then, you know, then it's like, now I have a different opinion on this because someone else was able to change my mind a little bit because they presented a good argument and I agree with their argument now more than I agreed with my own before.
Well, yeah, that's what.
And if you don't wholly agree, maybe you just take theirs into consideration as well.
You have to be able to be malleable with your opinions. Like literally just like that debate I was talking about. Within 30 minutes, my entire perspective on whether or not modern technology makes you dumb just changed.
Right.
That blew my mind.
Just so
because like
watch it.
I'm really willing to like learn, and I'm super open minded. But I don't think my perspective has ever been changed
that
quickly. Like literally
crazy.
within 30 minutes.
That's crazy. Well,
So crazy.
So crazy.
we're getting up there in time now.
We are.
So I think we are gonna cut it off for this week. We will
Cut it.
we will talk to you again next week for episode 14. If you've made it this far into the episode, thank you for your support and thank you for listening.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for listening.
If you have any questions or comments or concerns, or you have opinions you want voiced, if you want to hear someone on the podcast, email us at theuntamedpodcast.wild@gmail.com. And I will get your email. We will read it. You know, if there's someone you want to hear on here as a guest, if there's a topic you want to hear us talk about, whatever it might be, if you agree, if you disagree, I want to hear it all. So contact us there. You can find us on Facebook and on Instagram at The Untamed Podcast.
Wait, can I shoot my socials?
Yeah. We'll
definitely.
go around.
Yeah, give us a second, okay?
It's my first time.
Philosopher.
Remember, we're creatures of habit. There's a routine here.
There's a routine.
I don't know.
It's good. So that's shoot us a message at theuntamedpodcast.wild@gmail.com. My name is John. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat at John_human_sounds. And the band I play in Desert Fish at Desert Fish Band. Juan?
My name is Juan. I have an Instagram. It is at Juanald, JUANALDD. Wonderful. Julia?
That is.
Okay, so
Oh, God. You're not even ready.
I do have an Instagram. Thank God for spell check because I suck at life. But if you want to follow me on Instagram, it is EXXSPIRAVIT. But if you don't, that's cool too. No pressure. No pressure.
Word. And then Vic, you want to shout out all your stuff?
Hell yeah, back at to me. So if you want to follow me, my main account is Twitter. Go hit that follow at philosopher. Wait. Now you got me saying that shit.
Philosopher.
Philo, no, just kidding. It's philosopher of one with the numerical one. So philosopher of one on Twitter. Get to know me. I'm always on there. I'll talk back. What's up?
Oh man, he has a Twitter. I should get one now too.
Yep.
You don't
gotta
have a
get that
Twitter?
tweeter.
Yeah,
No.
you gotta tweet.
It's
I got the tweeter.
pillow
Pillow.
soap
So
her.
Pillow soaper.
Pillow
with the we gotta roll the
soaper.
tongue
So better.
Like Doja
because it's
Cat.
untamed.
Yeah. Word. All right. So we will talk to you again next week.
Thank you
Back
for
here.
listening to the Untamed podcast. I'm Juan,
And I am John.
and we will talk to you next time.
Goodbye.
Peace.
A pajama jammy jam?
I've never-
House party.
From a house
Where's
party.
it at?
Oh, I just
You
exited
gotta
out of
find
it.
the clip.
Oh,
Are
this.
you kidding me? We gotta find a clip. We gotta play it so that they can hear what I'm saying.
Hear the
Oh,
reference?
this is a thing that we're actually.
Yes, it's a pajama jammy jam.
Oh, Jesus.
Or is this just some guy with the fro?
A pajama jammy
A pajama jammy jam. No, it wasn't Sinbad. It was well, Martin Lawrence is in it.
Mm.
Oh, I remember Sinbad.
I remember some.
Okay, Sinbad is awesome.
Dude, have you heard the weird conspiracy from the Mandela effect thing that Sinbad
That
is in that
Sinbad
movie?
isn't. Yeah. No.
And it's not. It's Shaq is in Kazam, and everyone thinks that Sinbad was in a movie called Shazam, and that never
No,
existed.
it's Shaq.
I know, but that's the thing. That's the whole Mandela effect thing. Some people think that Sinbad was in a movie called Shazam.
Those things hurt my brain.
I would listen to Sinbad stand up comedy, and he'd be like,
Mhm.
and one of them I quote all the time. He goes, "I want 5 Happy Meals because I'm happy."